here we go, Clay. 447. All eyes on what you said were updated snow totals. I know you'll get to it, right?
Yep.
You'll get to it.
Yeah, you gotta keep the people guessing, you know. Keeps them staying tuned this morning. So yeah, we are tracking that cold air and winter storm on the way. We're definitely going to be tracking the potential for widespread snow and travel impacts as we get into your Friday. So here's a look at your temperatures. It's cold. It's been cold. It's going to stay cold for a while. Teens in low to mid 20s here area wide. The wind has died down to some degree, so the wind chill not a huge issue. Still going to be a little bit breezy at times today, but highs only going to top out in the mid to upper 30s. So the cold air is in place, which is one of the ingredients we need for winter weather. Winter storm watches posted from Chattanooga, Atlanta, all across the state of Tennessee, North Mississippi, back towards the Dallas metro area. So it's not just going to be us. This is going to be a very impactful storm for a pretty good chunk of the southeast. Not all that often do we have this widespread winter weather. It happens every couple of winters, probably 5 to 10 years. But still, this is going to be an impact storm for us. Winter storm watch is in effect for our entire coverage area. So northeast Alabama, southeast Tennessee, North Georgia, western North Carolina, all under a winter storm watch. Likely will be upgraded to a winter storm warning later today or early tomorrow. So we're looking at widespread snow. Freezing rain and sleet still could mix in, but we are trending towards more of a snow event, especially north of the Tennessee state line. And this is going to cause some significant travel delays. So when's the snow going to get here? Well, Friday between about 6 and 8, you'll notice your radar starting to fill in with some blue across the Huntsville area and middle Tennessee. By about 8 to 10 o'clock, that should start to move in. Maybe some evaporation at the onset of this precipitation, but once that column of air is moistened up, it's going to start to snow pretty good as we get into the morning and mid-morning hours. And then after about 10 or 11, it moves into the Knoxville area. So how do we get valley snow? It's been a while since we've had a widespread snow event. Well, the cold air in place, check that off. We have a Gulf flow, you can check that off. Moisture is going to be available, check. And we're going to have that southerly storm track. So all these things are coming together. And if you want to see snow here in places like Chattanooga, down in Dalton, this is the setup we need. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the setup we had about 10 years ago. So we'll talk more about that later on. But here's a look at your next storm coming through. Heavy snow breaks out, continues through much of the day on Friday. By about 9 o'clock, still coming down. But notice this wintry mix starting to show up across portions of North Georgia. So where does that boundary from heavy snow to wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain setup? It looks like it could be across North Georgia, which could undercut some of those snow totals, but north of Chattanooga should mainly stay snow until maybe the end where we kind of switch over to a freezing drizzle, and then this moves out by the time we get into Saturday morning. So a pretty quickly moving storm, but it does appear that there's going to be some heavier precipitation. So the latest snowfall totals from the GFS and the Euro, about 4.5 to 6.7 inches, and that's for a single point in Chattanooga. So those are pretty good totals, bumped up from yesterday. So I took all that into consideration, looked at some other things before we went on air this morning, and here's what I've come up with our latest snow totals. So about 4 to 8 inches looking pretty likely. We have a bullseye trying to set up across North Alabama, Middle Tennessee, which could even include Chattanooga, Dunlap, Spring City, over towards Monteagle, Hazel Green, anywhere, again, 4 to 8 inches, but across North Georgia, back into parts of western North Carolina, Athens, Benton, Murphy, still in the cars for about 3 to 6 inches. And then when we get into that mixing towards Fort Payne, Calhoun, and Tryon, it may be closer to the 2 to 4 inch range, but nonetheless going to be a significant storm for our entire coverage area. And it looks like that bread and milk alert starting to go off here across the Tennessee Valley. So go ahead and get prepared because we are going to have some pretty rough conditions coming in Friday. Today it's only going to be 37. Tonight we're going to fall back into the teens potentially. It's going to be a very cold night area wide. And then looking ahead to your next 7 days, of course, the big thing going to be Friday. Friday is when we're going to have that potential for some heavier snow coming in, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. Saturday flurries mainly in the morning. Most of that moves out pretty quickly, but it is going to stay cold next week, so whatever falls will probably stick around for a while, Paul.
Stick around for a while.
Yeah, you know, it's been so cold recently, so anything that starts falling, especially when we get the higher precipitation rates, it's going to stick like that. So travel is going to go downhill quickly on Friday. So stay home if you can.
It's a real one.
Yeah, this looks like a significant threat.
All right, thanks, Clay.